So, first impressions of these things is they're pretty darn easy to ride. If you have any kind of dirt biking experience on a regular motorcycle, swapping over to one of these is going to be pretty simple. Well, hi guys, Lance here from the Rocky Mountain Life channel. And kind of a special treat today. I'm out here with Ferret Face, and I'm riding his rental Talaria Sting e-bike. This is an electronic bike. All three of our bikes here today are electric bikes. So no internal combustion engines today. First time I've ever ridden one of these. And this guy you see right in front of me here is my nephew, technically my wife's nephew, Daniel. He's from the Philippines. So Daniel has You all right? So Daniel has never ridden a dirt bike before. He has done a little bit of mountain biking before, but this is all kind of a new experience.
Turn it off, just turn it back on.
That looked like a Minnesota license plate on that bike. You know, I love my Beta, but I have a real soft spot for Hondas like that. Huskies don't talk to me too much, but I sure love the Hondas. Alright, that looks like their group. So I'm kind of letting Aaron teach him, because Ferret Face is more experienced than I am. He's taught more riders to ride. So I feel like his advice is going to be a little bit better for Daniel. Nice, he went right up that. Good job. So I'm not sure what kind of content this is going to be today, guys. Just because we're working with Daniel. But I'm excited about the prospect of riding this e-bike, having never done it. And I am not a tree hugger or, you know, environmental type of person by any stretch. However, this is the future. As much as a lot of us may not like that, this is going to be the future. And it's kind of cool to be able to get out and try one of these things out. They are a little bit cheaper to buy one of these than it is to buy an actual dirt bike, an internal combustion engine. So just, you know, I mean, it's not that horrible thing to get into. The range is always a concern these days. I'm waiting for the technology of the batteries to catch up better. So they're actually on two matching RAR Mantis e-bikes, and I'm on a Talaria Sting. And Ferret Face and his buddy Meeker Extreme sell both of these. They also rent them. The reason why I'm able to ride these today is because they're not being rented today. It's a weekday, of course. It's Thursday. So that's how we were able to do this. And I really appreciate Ferret Face being willing to let Daniel and I come out and do this. I just hope Daniel's already gone down once, as you saw. I just hope that he doesn't do it very often. Oh, that got me all wet. And I'm wearing jeans. Gonna be filthy. So this is the future, though. Yeah, you know, and I don't really have an issue with the whole concept of an e-bike. My only concern I've ever had is range and durability. You know, to be able to handle proper dirt biking. Now this Talaria Sting that I'm on has got upgraded rims, upgraded battery pack, so extra range. It's got, you know, beefier tires on it. And I think they've even probably upgraded the suspension, if I'm not mistaken. So this is not a stock one. You can get one set up like this, but it's It's pretty pricey. Not as much as my Beta, but they're still, you know, they're certainly not cheap things. It's small. The frame is small. Keep going, Daniel. Keep going. I should have stayed closer to him so I could film it. But I'm trying not to crowd him and make him feel pressured. Oh, he got right up through there, no problem. So a lot of the purpose of this ride today, guys, is to show Daniel a part of the country. He's never been to the U.S. before. He's been to Australia. He lived in Australia for a couple of years. But he's never been to the U.S. Of course, first time in Colorado. So what do you do when you come to Colorado? You go to the mountains. Got to show him our mountain terrain and beauty and the forest and all that fun stuff. One thing I will say is, for my height, at a little over 6 feet, these bikes are small and short. So standing for me is fairly uncomfortable. I would need massive bar risers on these. But it's really light. It's, you know, I mean, it weighs, what, 150 pounds or something, 140 pounds. So we're hitting some green, easy level ATV trails, 50-inch ATV trails today. Just going to take it easy, trying to let Daniel do his thing, get his sort of sea legs underneath him and get used to just the whole thing of feeling a bike move underneath you on uneven terrain. That's really what I think is a lot of the challenge for people when they're getting into dirt biking, if they've never done it. Even if they've ridden road motorcycles before, even if they've done it a lot, it's just different when you've got all this changing terrain and sand and gravel and things like that that are just different than what you're accustomed to. And a lot of it is just sort of getting used to how the bike behaves as you let it roll through all these funny little bumps and whoops and tree roots and things like that. But again, really appreciative of Ferret Face for letting us ride these today. He even drove out. Basically, we just showed up. Most of the gear that Daniel's wearing came from Ferret Face as well, so really appreciate all that, his willingness to help out. So I don't know a whole lot about these e-bikes, guys, and for those of you who've watched very many of my videos, you know that I don't really do research and things in advance. I'm not Ian from Big Rock Moto. I do this as a hobby and I do it for entertainment. Ian, it's his job, it's how he supports his family, and I love Ian's videos, don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing him at all. I love his videos. I watch them a lot. And when I want information about a bike, I usually go to him because he's so detailed, and I love that. Me personally, I'm unwilling to do that much work, and that much research to get into the nitty-gritty specs and things like that. I take these bikes out and I push record on my camera and I go for a ride. So that's pretty much all I do. So I don't know a whole lot about this. I would say, you know, the power on this thing, it's got different modes. So you can go sport mode, which will drain your battery faster. And it's got like 9 levels. So like right now I'm in Eco 9. So Eco 9 is sort of the max power of the Eco mode. Eco mode is less power, it's not full power. If you go into Sport 9 on this particular bike, the Talaria Sting, then that's max power. And that's going to feel like, you know, probably like a 300, roughly. And this is a little bit muted, maybe more like a 250. Of course, being an e-bike, if anybody's ever driven an e-vehicle like a Tesla or any of these electric cars, instant torque, instant power. So you got to get used to that. But it's got different levels. I've got it in Eco 9. And for this sort of thing and at the speed that we're going here, it's fine. But you can lift the front tire pretty easily on these things if you really wanted to. just with the throttle, power wheelies and things like that, not going to be a problem. And if anybody is actually interested in either renting one or buying one, if you maybe you have already ridden one and you like them, they're a little bit harder to find right now, especially in Colorado. But A&M Moto Toys, my buddies, that's the Ferret Face's shop with Meeker Extreme, they are dealers. They are licensed dealers of both the Talaria Sting and the RAR Mantis, which is what Daniel and Ferret Face up front are riding. So if anybody's wanting to know more and wanting to ride one of these and test ride it and rent it, I can get you hooked up. I can get you in contact with them. That's no biggie. I will say that the brakes on this are a little awkward. They don't have great feel. They're also noisy. They work, but it is a little bit noisy. But Ferret Face told me I wouldn't like the brakes on this one, and they're okay. But yeah, you can hear that squeak. That's the brake. But boy, they're just so light and maneuverable that if you get into anything that you want to paddle your feet on or anything like that, super easy to do. They're not top heavy at all, because the battery pack is down where the engine would be on a traditional motorcycle. So that's where your weight is. So the weight, your center of gravity is pretty low. So in that sense, it's it's not tippy top heavy at all. Even my Beta, which is pretty darn light, once it gets tipped over to a certain angle, it gets kind of hard to hold it up. This is not going to be any big deal, I can already tell. So first impressions of these things is they're pretty darn easy to ride. If you have any kind of dirt biking experience on a regular motorcycle, swapping over to one of these is going to be pretty simple.